Good morning. The purpose of this video is to describe the assignment we're going to do in place of having class today as the college is closed. So the good news is college is closed. You might say it's the bad news that we still have an assignment, but it is necessary to accomplish the learning objectives, and it will also prepare you not only for the exam next week, but really to apply the knowledge. So that's, in my opinion, that's good news. You may still perceive it as bad news. The good news is that this assignment is not due today. It is due on Sunday, the 24th of February at 11:59 p.m. And the final set of good news is that there are 2 extra credit opportunities. So this assignment will be worth 20 points, replicating the work we would have done in class. It is an individual assignment, and the extra credit opportunities are both worth 10 points. You could do neither. You could do one, or you could do both. It's all up to you, but everything's due this coming Sunday. So the first thing you want to do is open up Moodle and go to Today, Marketing the Moon Shadow, and you see all these documents. And some folks may say, God, look at all these documents. Do I have to read all these? No, you actually don't unless you want to do one of the extra credit assignments. But just to get started, you're going to want to open the CHOP document, Chili Willy's Snow Day assignment, and that's going to describe this assignment in full. Everything that I'm going through on this video, what to open, what to look at, what is required when. So I'm going to use the example of Brooke, because since she's first in our alphabetical order, I'm also going to use Stephen because he's in a next group. So the next thing you want to do after you look at the assignment is you want to open this right here to find your individual market assignment. Again, this is an individual exercise since we're split up and we don't have the college is closed today. So we're going to open this matrix and see what assignment you have. So for Brooke, she's got the unknown market, and for Steven, he's got the athletes market. So I'm going to walk through both of those examples because they are a little bit different. So I'm going to get rid of that. And if I haven't read this already, you need to read the opener, and that's going to provide the backstory update as well as some recap on our storyline. So it begins with a disclaimer that the information from past scenarios, while there's a storyline continuity, the information itself isn't necessary to complete this exercise. And then next we have a recap that tells us our supply chain structure. Again, our players, Parallax, Roadrunners, Photon 5, Ghost Riders, and White Lines. And then our Triple S crew, Dan, Ned, Paula, Sandra, and Wanda, and what they do. Next, we've got the update that brings us to date. 3 key things. First is that the crew's decided it's time to go into a deliberate marketing and distribution strategy, particularly since we've got a competitor, a knockoff to the Moon Shadow. It's called the Moonshade that's entered the market. So that's kind of created a sense of urgency. We do have some feedback from the Fab Five Freddy Fashion Festival, in which we sold 50,000 Moon Shadows. And so we've got data on who bought the Moon Shadows, what occupation they have, how old they are, and what sex they are. So we've got that data to look at and think about who's buying the Moon Shadow. And we have a few reviews from that population. Not many, but a few. And then finally, the Triple S crew, has been investing in the Special Forces, Special Operations market around the world across the past 6 months. And while this has been going well, they want to relook at this market and ensure that they're addressing it appropriately. So that's our update. Brings us to the present. So for Brooke, she's going to pull down the unknown market instructions. And then you'll see for each group that each group has an instruction sheet and a corresponding info sheet, with the exception of the unknown market. The unknown market only has an instruction sheet because their task is a little bit different. They've actually got to come up with a market that Triple S should invest in to market the moon shadow. So I'm going to look at the athlete market instructions to start off. And so it talks about developing the potential market of athletes using the following documents. So we have the feedback from the festival, we have the reviews, we have an info sheet on the athlete market, what we know, and we have two menus, the micronometer menu and the moon shadow menu. And so all of those documents are down here. Fab Five Freddy, the fashion festival feedback, that's the data. We have the reviews from people who've bought the moon shadow, and we have the two menus. And then, like I said, the specific information on the athlete's market is right underneath the athlete market instructions. So let's take a look at that. So here, the athletes group has just a one-page document on what we know about the athletes market in terms of the voice of that customer, what they need, what they're looking for in terms of gear. And we have one of these for, again, the Special Forces, the Special Operations Forces market. We also have one for what's called the high roller market. And then we also have some information on the moonshade market. So the moonshade market, if you're assigned that market, really what you're looking at is understanding the competition that the moonshade brings to the table. So let's go back to the market instructions for the athletes, just as an example. So back where we were, it talks about the documents to look at to get information and develop this potential market in order to answer these questions. And these go back to our learning objectives. Number one, who is our customer? Are we looking at an end customer? Are we looking at an end organization of a customer? What are our customers' needs? What should our strategy be? What should we pick from the menus of the products that Triple S already offers in their respective capabilities? So we want to look at the micronometer menu, and we want to look at the moon shadow cut. And we want to try to put it together a combination that we think matches against what our respective market needs are. And then finally, we want to look at what segment we think our market is in, and therefore what distribution channel and customer service strategy we should have. And again, you as an individual, you're not going to prepare an out brief. What you are going to do is just put together a one-page essay. I'm not too concerned about format, but I want you to share your insights as if you were briefing the class. And you should answer all these questions within your essay. If you want to provide a table or a chart that kind of captures some of your insights, that's fine, and that can count against your page, but you do need to have some kind of written discussion that describes what you're capturing within this chart. So that addresses the first, really the requirement, which is due, this one-page essay, and this is how you get to that. Now, if you're interested in extra credit, you have a couple of options, or all of the options. One option is you can do this entire process, not just for your assigned market, but for an additional one. So, for example, let's say I'm Steven, and I meet all the requirements for my athletes market. I finish my essay, and I decide I'm really interested in this moonshade market. So I'm going to go back and do the entire process for that moonshade market and submit that essay. So I would be submitting two essays, one which is required and then the other one for extra credit. Understanding that the extra credit is worth a possible 10 points and the assignment is worth a possible 20. Now, let's say I really want all the extra credit. I want all the points possible. So in that case, the second opportunity involves putting together a matrix that puts all markets into it. So what I would recommend, if you're interested in that you go to my overview notes from this past Monday, the 18th, and pull those up. So we're just going to pull those up. And you might want to look at these anyway to review. They might help you in writing your essay. And we want to scroll down to this last matrix here that has volume on the x-axis and then profit on the y. And what I'm looking for here is for you to put each market that we are talking about in here, with the exception of the unknown market, because that could go anywhere depending on how you define it. So if you feel, for example, the Special Operations Forces market goes in the high volume, high profit, you should put them there and kind of describe each of these points, just in bullets, what kind of marketing strategy SSS should use for that market, what the operation strategy should be, and then points on distribution and customer service. But you would put all markets in there. So if Special Forces goes here, you may decide that High Rollers goes down here and the Moon Shadow market goes here, or something else. It's important to note that you could have two markets in the same quadrant. They don't all have to have their own quadrant. So you could decide that the High Roller market is up in this left-hand quadrant, as is the Special Operations Forces. So the point there is just to put these markets where you think they fit, all of the markets with the exception of the unknown. Put a few bullets below, and then have about less than a paragraph or a paragraph just on the highlights of this. Not necessarily repeating it, but really kind of what are the high points that you would describe. So that's the second extra credit requirement. So again, and to do a final recap, you do have a requirement that's due Sunday. It replicates the group work we would have done today. It's a one-page essay. You want to look at understanding the assignment, so you want to go here first. You want to see what your respective market is, so you want to go to this list. You want to get up to speed on the backstory and the recap, so go to the opener. And then you want to dive into your respective market. If you have the unknown market, you want to look at this set of instructions. If you have the athletes market, you want to look at this set of instructions, and so on and so forth. If you're interested in extra credit, you want to pick one other market other than the one you were assigned and repeat the process. Or you could do the second option, which is to do the matrix of all markets with the exception of the unknown. Or you could do both extra credit assignments. But regardless, any submissions that you're interested in are due by this Sunday, the 24th of February, 11:59 p.m. So if you have any questions, as always, please email me at mshatskin@ycp.edu, and that's the same email you would send your submission when you're complete. Again, if you have any questions, please give me an email, and otherwise, I'll look forward to your work. Have a great day, and please be safe.